I want to talk a little bit about Kevin Durant because I think that's another aspect of this Suns team. Like, we know what Kevin Durant brings. We know how amazing of a basketball player he is. But do you feel like there's a small group of people who maybe are underrating how good Kevin Durant will be with the Sun squad now that he's had a full offseason with them, will have had a full training camp and an entire season to build that chemistry with these new guys?
Yeah, it's every other fan base in the West. They all are underestimating who Kevin Durant is and what he means to this roster, being able to build that chemistry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you mentioned it on Monday's show, talking about how that's one of the biggest things that could change in a potential Suns Nuggets series from this year to last year, was just having a Kevin Durant who's more familiar with his teammates, more familiar with, offense, defensive schemes, all that stuff. And with a full offseason, with a full training camp, hopefully a fully healthy season, we'll get more of that. Even if he misses 15 to 20 games for whatever reason, like, as long as he's healthy come playoff time, he'll have had a full season this time. And I think we saw it last year in the playoffs, as far as, Monty sticking him in the corner too much or him not getting involved enough. There was a little bit of that give and take as far as like trying to figure out when to take over and be Kevin Durant and when, I'm going to provide spacing and make Devin Booker's life easier. And I think with those two having a full offseason together, now incorporating Bradley Beal, they're going to make each other's lives easier. So I do think that is one of the things that when you talk about the Suns in the West, a lot of people are underrating the impact that that's going to have. Because yes, they had Kevin Durant for the playoffs, but they didn't have like Kevin Durant. And I think we'll see more of that this year.
I think because of that, that's what's leading people to speculate whether or not they can trust what they saw from Kevin Durant before he got to the Suns versus what he showed with the Suns. He's still an incredibly great player, but there were some inconsistencies that just weren't typical Kevin Durant consistencies that we saw, and people don't know whether to factor that with the short amount of time with the team, the ankle injury, or just getting a little long in the tooth. It's like there's like this question mark out there. I firmly believe that Kevin Durant will resume form, because he looked phenomenal at the beginning part of last season with Brooklyn until he got injured with his knee. And then he got here and he looked really good in those first couple of games, and then he tweaked the ankle. And so I think Kevin Durant's going to be fine. I think he's going to contribute to this team at a very high level. And Kevin Durant is one of the most just disrespected players in the league. And as Steph Curry said on that documentary of his, he's one of the most misunderstood guys in the league. And I think people have misunderstood what they saw with Kevin Durant against the Nuggets and against the Clippers in the playoffs, and they're about to find out why that's the wrong choice.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that's the opinion that people have from that?
From what?
The playoffs.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because they looked at certain things. I still don't think that he was 100% in that playoff series. I still feel like, listen, Kevin Durant was really devastated the fact that, he got injured in a pregame warmup with all the hype and all the people that wanted to see him and how disappointed they were. And I know, not that he rushed to get back, but, I know he wanted to get back as soon as he was given the green light. And I don't know if he was necessarily 100%. There was certain times when he pulled up for jumpers that I felt like he just didn't have his legs underneath him. And I couldn't tell if that was like his ankle or if that was just not getting into full game shape post-injury. Like, there's too many X factors to try and figure out. So now that we've had a whole off season, now you've had some rest, now you should be 100% full go. I think at least early on in the beginning of the season, we're going to find out what Kevin Durant is really all about. And I think people are going to be surprised that, oh, guess what? He's the same old Kevin Durant.
Yeah, it's recency bias. I mean, they look at it and they go, oh, well, we saw those games in the playoffs and he's injured. Just look at the second half of the season. They forget how unbelievably dominant this guy is when healthy, and he's healthy coming into this season. It's gonna be eye-opening for some people.
And about those playoff series too, he went from like working his way back right before the start of the season to playing upwards of 40 to 45 minutes a night in a playoff environment in Denver altitude for most of that series, like,
because he had to.
Yeah,
because the Suns didn't have anybody that could score with the shit.
Yeah, so
outside Devin Booker.
I do think that'll make a difference heading into this upcoming season, especially if the Suns' depth is as improved as we think it is. That'll take a lot of pressure off him in the regular season to be playing heavy minutes and maybe even come playoff time, get it down from these unobtainable levels that he was at last year.
KD going like, let's just say a perfect amount of time on the court is if KD was averaging 34 minutes a game. Even that feels a little low because KD loves to just ball. He doesn't really care about how much time he plays. I think if you found that sweet spot, you'd find a very rejuvenated, high performing KD in that amount of time every game. So I don't know if that's really the threshold. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. But that's in my mind. 34 minutes. I feel like, man, that would keep him fresh. But also you get peak performance of KD every single game.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting to watch Kevin Durant play an entire season on this Sun squad alongside Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and the rest of the cast and crew.